Hi, my name is Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
Mark, Anthony,
and Matt.
and we just finished playing Hansa Teutonica, which is a Euro sort of area control. If you look at the board here, it looks like it's quite dated, I have to say, this game. But it's area control, and it's a very interesting game in quite a few different ways. Essentially, as you can see, I was green in this case. I'm trying to put my green cubes out on the board because you get points at the end of the game for each city that you control. So you can see if you're the only one here, you control it. If there's more than one cube, it's the person furthest to the right. So you're trying to put your cubes out to control them. But also you're trying to link sections. You get points at the end of the game for how many you've got in a linked section. I'll come back to that in a second. In terms of what you do on your turn though, typically you have a stack of these cubes. You may not have many available to you, and one action you can take is the kind of bag action, where depending on the latest number that you've revealed, because you can remove these cubes later to make it better, but at the moment I can take 5 cubes from my supply and make them available to me. So another action you can do then is put cubes on the board, and it's kind of 1 for 1. At the start of the game you only get 2 actions, but again you can pull these cubes off to try and give yourself more actions. So now I've got 4 actions. So for another action I could take a cube and I could put it on the board somewhere. So for example, I could put it here. And then for another action I could take another cube and put it here. And once you've filled them up, if I manage to get an entire route here, for another action you can then pull them off and trigger something. So either you pull them off and then add to one of the area control things on either end, so maybe I could put this here in this spot here, or I could do it at the other end, or if you're next to one of these yellow ones, you see if I zoom out a bit, you can see you've got these yellow cities typically in the corners around the edge of the board. They let you upgrade your board. So if I take this action here, I can take one of my action cubes and remove it. So now I still only get 4 actions, but if I was to remove another one, then I would get a whopping 5 actions. So the yellow spots around the outside of the board are quite important. So as we said, removing these means you get more cubes from your supply, because as you take the cubes off the board, they go back into your supply. You kind of don't have access to them anymore. So you want to upgrade your bag ability. Something else you can do though is if you've already got cubes on the board, like maybe you've gone here and then somebody was very mean and put a cube here. Now it is possible when you put cubes down to kick people out, but if I kick Mark's cube out here, it costs me an extra cube to do that, and then Mark gets to put this along with a sort of free cube from his supply on an adjacent spot, so maybe he can go over here. So it kind of gives Mark extra actions and extra cubes for free, so I really don't want to do that. But this sort of blocking and kicking each other out is a really important part of the game. Something else then you can do is, instead of placing cubes, you can actually move them. So if people have been pushing you around and your cubes have ended up all over the place, you can move this many and you're kind of pulling them off to make it this better. So I could sort of take 1, 2, 3 cubes and then move them somewhere else and put them down here and try and get this action. So we keep going. Every time somebody completes a route with one of your control markers on either end, you get a point. So if somebody completes this route to upgrade this ability, then I would get a point here. In fact, I would get another point because I've got both ends, so I get 2 points. You're gradually accumulating points around the edge through the game. The end of the game is triggered though if somebody gets to 20 kind of in-game points, which is actually how our game ended. With a couple of other ways in which the game can end. But then at the end of the game, you count up how many points you've got from, as I say, how many different places you control. But this link section is multiplied by the number of keys you have. Again, this is something else you can upgrade, so it's now 2 times the number of linked places. So in this case, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 is the best I could do. So if it was 4 times 2, this would give me 8 points. So that's quite important as well. You'll notice the spaces are coloured here. You can't actually go in these pink or black spaces until you upgrade this little thing by removing the cubes. Now I can go into pink, now I can go into black. So more or less that's it. As I say, there's a couple of other things, but essentially once the end game trigger is reached, you count up points and most points wins. What do you think?
Well, this was an interesting and evil game. I think the first thing that we realised coming to the end is that we would have played differently. We gave people to each league 2 spots. They were getting 2 points every time. Somebody took one of the to improve their boards. And I think knowing that now, you would never let them do that. I mean, the clear thing, obvious thing, is the fact that the number of completed buildings, which is one way to like villages or towns or cities, whatever, to complete the game, is only at 3, and I suspect they're suspecting sometimes you will get to 10 to end the game, and we also have plenty of the bonus tokens left. So we would play it differently, which is good. I think there's a lot of player interaction, and again, I think if you did it like knowing how to play it better, there'll be even more player interaction. I think having more of a balance of blocking other people to get the free actions, as opposed to just going, well, I'm going to do that because it helps me. I think you have to think in different sort of ways. But yeah, it's good. As a game, it's actually fairly simple and easy rule to teach. It hasn't got loads of overall thinking. All the thinking is, how can I improve myself and do other people in, and marrying those two things up.
Okay, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, I feel fairly similar. I think we played a bit timidly and kind of a bit more kind of. We didn't play aggressive enough, and it was a fun game.
Okay.
Don't really have much else to say.
Matt?
Yeah, so like Jonathan and Mark have said, we would definitely play it differently next time we play it. So the first game was kind of a learning game, and we go, oh, right, that's a better way to do things. But I don't know if we didn't play it aggressively enough. We were kind of aggressive, but we were going directly for the routes that we wanted, and we were trying to upgrade our board, which is important, but maybe putting the cubes down on the cities first is more important, especially taking controls of the ones where the upgrades to the boards are, because everyone wants to do them. Every time they do them, you're giving people points if they've got their buildings there first. So yeah, it's a really interesting game. There's a lot of ways that you can get points, so you can switch your strategy up. I definitely like to play it again and try a different strategy. Yeah, I like it.
Rating?
I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay, Anthony?
Does it have to be a whole number?
Nope. No.
I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I want to play it again now and do, which means it's got the depth, so I'd give it an 8.
Okay. This wouldn't normally be my kind of game, but I loved it. Like area control, I don't generally like very much because it's too easy to just get done in by the randomness of everyone else decided to go in the one place that I wanted to go in. But that ability to move your cubes and go somewhere else means that if you've put several cubes out on a route and then someone blocks that last space, you can pay extra cubes to go there, which helps them, or you can just move them all to a different route and claim that instead. So there's a lot of ways of mitigating the kind of bad luck that I don't like from area control games. The upgrading your board is really interesting. There are some bonus tokens as well that I didn't mention. If you complete a route, let me just show you, which has one of these tokens left, then you get these extra abilities. Matt got a whole pile of these and used them to great effect throughout the game, which can let you move other people's cubes or let you put extra cubes out. There's all kinds of possibilities there. So there's a sort of balance between trying to get cubes out early, as they were saying, because when other people use those routes, you're getting points, versus trying to control lots of places and get the keys unlocked so that you can get the end game scoring. It's a really interesting balance, and I love the mechanic where you can block people and then get extra actions. And as Mark was saying, we probably should have done it more, but we still did it a fair amount. I really enjoyed it, loved it. I would be on a solid 9 out of 10, which for me, for this kind of game, is extremely high. I think it's fantastic. All right, thanks for watching. That was Hansa Teutonica.